Nalyssa Smith and Angel Reese both got technical fouls, and things got a little chippy between the two.
Chicago's done a nice job defensively. Nice pass.
Right there.
How did Dejournay hit that to Smith? That was in our line of sight. There wasn't any daylight.
Yeah, the speed and accuracy of that pass.
Now we got some chippiness. Smith and Reese jawing at each other.
The Women's National Basketball Association faces a mounting crisis of player conduct and league oversight. The recent altercation between Chicago Sky forward Angel Reese and Dallas Wings forward Nalyssa Smith that resulted in double technical fouls has raised serious questions about the league's ability to maintain professional standards. This incident, amid growing concerns over physical play and Caitlin Clark's injury, highlights a troubling trend of escalating confrontations that risk damaging the integrity of women's pro basketball.
Charles,
give me that! Jesus, dude, when Nalyssa Smith is doing that to you, you know you just aren't ready for it, man. When Nalyssa Smith is D'ing you up, blocking her shot, folks, Angel, you cooked her up last year. What happened?
The most recent flashpoint in the WNBA's conduct concerns erupted during the Chicago Sky 94-83 victory over the Dallas Wings, when Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith engaged in a heated exchange that required intervention from teammates and officials. The altercation occurred with over 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter after Reese committed a foul on Smith that sent her out of bounds. What began as a routine basketball play quickly escalated into something far more concerning for the league's image and player safety protocols.
Anyway, this started off by Nalyssa Smith going for a rebound and Angel just shoving her. Just shoving her and then complaining to the refs. And by the way, I don't blame Angel Reese for, shoving people and expecting to get away with it. The referees have shown that you are allowed to shove people and get away with it. Like, that is a given. So,
confrontation was not an isolated incident of competitive passion, but rather part of an established pattern of aggressive behavior between these specific players. According to reports, Reese and Smith have a history of jawing back and forth at each other dating back to the 2024 season when Reese was a rookie and Smith was still playing for the Indiana Fever. This historical context suggests that the WNBA has failed to address ongoing interpersonal conflicts between players before they escalate into public confrontations that damage the league's reputation. What happened last year? Was it the Indiana Fever on the jersey that made you go extra hard? Was it that other player on that team?
Now, if I was to take bets in this, Nalyssa Smith versus Angel Reese, I'm putting all of my $2.47. I'm putting all of that on Nalyssa Smith. All right, I'm not sure it would be even close. Like, I'm not sure Angel Reese would actually want that to turn into something where hands are involved.
Confrontation was not an isolated incident of competitive passion, but rather part of an established pattern of aggressive behavior between these specific players. According to reports, Reese and Smith have a history of jawing back and forth at each other dating back to the 2024 season when Reese was a rookie and Smith was still playing for the Indiana Fever. This historical context suggests that the WNBA has failed to address ongoing interpersonal conflicts between players before they escalate into public confrontations that damage the league's reputation. What happened last year? Was it the Indiana Fever on the jersey that made you go extra hard? Was it that other player on that team?
What happened last year? Was it the Indiana Fever on the jersey that made you go extra hard? Was it that other player on that team that was like, oh, that 22, oh, I really want to show her something? Is that what really made it? Because in these matchups against the Dallas Wings, you really haven't been anything special at all. Maybe Nalyssa Smith was tired of seeing her in a meme all offseason. Nalyssa's like, you know what? That next time I play her, I'm not going to let her cook me and do me like that.
Enjoying? Please subscribe. The manner in which this confrontation unfolded reveals significant concerns about player discipline and emotional control. Smith's frustration was evident when she slammed the ball on the ground after the foul, while Reese's decision to pivot from arguing with referees to engaging directly with Smith demonstrates concerning lack of professional restraint. The fact that teammates had to physically separate the players indicates that the situation had escalated beyond normal competitive intensity into territory that could have resulted in more serious consequences. The WNBA's response to this incident has been notably restrained, with both players receiving standard technical fouls rather than more serious disciplinary action. This measured response stands in stark contrast to the potentially volatile nature of the confrontation and raises questions about whether the WNBA is adequately addressing patterns of aggressive behavior that could escalate into more serious incidents. The technical fouls assessed represent the league's acknowledgement that both players cross professional boundaries, but the lack of additional consequences may signal to other players that such behavior carries minimal risk.
And if you guys don't remember, like even last season, the two of them were getting into it through the entire season. The two of them were getting into it, and you saw literally when the referees tried to break it up, you saw them just go like, don't. Like the two of them want to get into it. And again, this is a rivalry.
The Reese-Smith altercation cannot be viewed in isolation, but must be understood as part of a broader pattern of increasingly aggressive behavior that has characterized recent WNBA seasons. The most notable previous incident involved Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark during their season opener, where hard basketball play escalated into a confrontation that required official review and resulted in multiple fouls. During that incident, Clark committed what officials determined to be a flagrant foul on Reese, leading to technical fouls for both Reese and Indiana Fever forward Aaliyah Boston. The Clark-Reese incident provides important context for understanding the current state of player conduct in the WNBA. While Clark characterized her foul as merely a good take foul and stated there was nothing malicious about it, the official's decision to classify it as flagrant suggests that even routine basketball plays are being scrutinized more heavily due to the overall climate of increased physicality. Clark's professional response to the incident, where she acknowledged the foul while maintaining it should not have been elevated to flagrant status, stands in contrast to the ongoing pattern of confrontational behavior exhibited by other players. The rise in technical fouls and confrontations points to a broader issue beyond isolated player incidents. NBA rules impose suspensions after 7 technical fouls, with further penalties for every 2 after that, indicating the league recognizes this as a recurring problem. Yet the ongoing frequency suggests current measures may not be enough to curb aggressive behavior. Through your perspective
on the flagrant foul, what was the point you were trying to make to her?
It's just a good take foul, you know? If either Angel gets wide open 2 points or, we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
Basketball player knows that the proliferation of one-court confrontations and technical fouls has significant implications for the WNBA's efforts to establish itself as a premier professional sports league. Basketball fans attend games and watch broadcasts to witness elite athletic competition, not to observe players engaging in verbal sparring matches and physical confrontations that detract from the sport itself. Every minute spent addressing player confrontations is time not devoted to showcasing the remarkable skill, athleticism, and competitive excellence that defines women's professional basketball at its highest level. The contrast between players who handle adversity professionally and those who consistently engage in confrontational behavior has become increasingly stark. While some players respond to challenging situations by focusing on their performance and letting their basketball skills speak for themselves, others appear to treat every perceived slight as an opportunity for public confrontation. This disparity in professional conduct creates an uneven playing field where some players benefit from the attention generated by controversy, while others are overshadowed despite superior on-court performance.
Angel Reese playing like trash all game, but that confidence doesn't waver, I guess, right? The arrogance doesn't waver. Right? We could miss layups, we can miss shots, but that confidence doesn't waver at all. I mean, look at this. Angel Reese, after going 3 for 12 on the night, at this point, she has a historic play where she elbows Dejanay out the way, and here we go. Move it, little girl. And yeah, Angel Reese talking that trash. Yeah! You guys can't stop me. I'm 4 for 13.
The current state of WNBA player conduct takes on additional significance in light of Caitlin Clark's injury, which has sidelined the league's biggest star for at least 2 weeks with a left quadricep strain. Clark suffered the injury during the Fever's game against the New York Liberty, and the team announced 2 days after that she would be out for a minimum of 2 weeks pending reevaluation. This injury represents not only a setback for Clark personally, but also a significant loss for the WNBA given her status as the league's most prominent draw for television ratings and arena attendance. The timing of Clark's injury is particularly concerning given the increased physicality and confrontational atmosphere that has characterized recent WNBA games. While the specific circumstances of Clark's quadriceps strain have not been directly linked to aggressive play by opponents, the broader context of increased physical confrontations raises questions about player safety and the league's responsibility to protect its most valuable assets. Clark's absence from the lineup has immediate implications for the competitive balance of the league and the viewing experience. For fans, her injury means she will miss at least 4 games, including potentially high-profile matchups that could have generated significant television ratings and fan interest. The fact that Clark's MVP odds shifted from 115 to plus 250 following her injury announcement demonstrates the significant impact her absence has on both competitive expectations and commercial interests. So the WNBA might as well just name Caitlin Clark the MVP right now, because so far she's missed.
So the WNBA might as well just name Caitlin Clark the MVP right now, because so far she's missed 2 games due to injury. And not only have the Fever lost both games, but now in this one, they lost to quite possibly the worst team in the league, which just shows how important of a piece she is to that team. She's averaging 19 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds a game this year in the 4 games she played. She is super important to that team, and it's proving it that she is the most valuable player on that team.
The stark contrast between Clark's professional approach to on-court incidents and the confrontational behavior exhibited by other players has become increasingly apparent throughout the current season. During the controversial incident with Angel Reese, Clark maintained that her foul was nothing malicious and represented standard basketball play, demonstrating the kind of mature perspective that professional athletes should exhibit when addressing on-court situations. Her ability to acknowledge the foul while explaining her intentions shows a level of professional communication that serves as a model for how players should handle controversial situations. Clark's injury and subsequent absence highlight the importance of protecting players who contribute positively to the league's image and commercial success. While she focuses on basketball performance and professional conduct, other players appear to prioritize creating social media moments and generating controversy that may provide short-term attention but ultimately detracts from the sport's credibility. The fact that Clark constantly fills arenas and drives television ratings while maintaining professional standards demonstrates that success in women's basketball comes from athletic excellence rather than manufactured drama.
She's going to be out for a couple weeks. Let's see how viewership does in the 3 weeks that she's out. Let's see how ticket sales go when she's out. Let's see how the WNBA as a whole comes out. Because I think they're trying to make a message to the WNBA that, hey, look, we don't necessarily have to put this woman on a pedestal. Like, she doesn't need to be treated like Jesus, Mary, Mother of God, anything like that. But I think if the WNBA wants to go in the right way with these CBA negotiations and getting bigger and more prominent, they need to embrace change. And she is good change for the WNBA.
The graduated nature of WNBA discipline is designed to provide multiple opportunities for players to modify their behavior before facing serious consequences. However, the continued frequency of confrontations and technical fouls suggests that current penalty structures may not be sufficient to deter problematic behavior. The fact that players like Angel Reese continue to engage in confrontational behavior despite previous incidents indicates that existing disciplinary measures may not adequately address patterns of aggressive conduct. One of the most significant challenges facing WNBA disciplinary enforcement is the apparent inconsistency in how similar incidents are treated by officials and league administrators. The contrast between the serious consequences faced by organizations for policy violations and the relatively minor penalties imposed for one-court confrontations suggests a misalignment of disciplinary priorities. While teams can lose draft picks and coaches can face suspension for workplace policy violations, players who engage in repeated confrontational behavior face relatively modest consequences that may not effectively deter future incidents. Relying on in-game officials to assess technical and flagrant fouls introduces inconsistency, as such calls are inherently subjective and can vary based on the crew or game context. This weakens the deterrent effect of disciplinary policies and leaves players uncertain about acceptable conduct. The league's hesitation to enforce stronger consequences for repeated aggressive behavior, such as in Angel Reese's case, raises concerns that short-term attention and controversy are being prioritized over long-term professionalism and league integrity. WNBA.
WNBA refs off Craigslist because I don't know what's going on. So you mean to tell me Angel can not only grab and pull the girl down on her, no call, but then Boston got her hands straight up in the air, not doing nothing, and the other girl tangled up in her, and then Boston get called for the foul. It's obviously an agenda out on Indiana Fever. Even with Caitlin sitting on the bench, they still doing this. Somebody please tell me what's going on.
Angel Reese-Nissa Smith altercation represents more than an isolated incident of competitive passion. It exemplifies a broader crisis of player conduct and league oversight that threatens the WNBA's credibility as a professional sports organization. The pattern of confrontational behavior, technical fouls, and on-court altercations that has characterized recent seasons demonstrates that current disciplinary measures are insufficient to maintain professional standards and protect the league's most valuable assets. The contrast between players who consistently demonstrate professional conduct and those who regularly engage in confrontational behavior has become increasingly stark, with significant implications for the league's image and commercial success. While Caitlin Clark's injury serves as a reminder of the importance of protecting elite athletes who contribute positively to the sport's growth, the continued confrontational behavior of other players suggests that the league has not adequately prioritized professional development and conduct standards. Not
in Angel Reese chase after Nalyssa Smith here. This is one of those basketball fights where no basketball things where people chirp at each other and they don't jump up and run after the person. Like, You know it's a bit different on that one there. And by the way, I don't think that the situation with Caitlin and Angel shows that they hate each other. I think they just hate each other, period. I think they just hate each other in general.
The WNBA stands at a critical juncture where decisive action is required to address escalating player conduct issues before they undermine the league's long-term credibility and success. Enhanced disciplinary measures, consistent enforcement of existing policies, and comprehensive player development programs represent essential components of a comprehensive approach to improving professional standards. The league's response to recent incidents will determine whether the WNBA can establish itself as a premier professional sports organization, or whether it will continue to be overshadowed by manufactured controversies that detract from the remarkable athletic excellence that defines women's basketball. At its highest level, the time for half measures and inconsistent enforcement has passed. The WNBA must choose between tolerating disruptive behavior that generates short-term attention and establishing professional standards that support long-term growth and credibility. The league's most successful and marketable players have demonstrated that athletic excellence and professional conduct are not mutually exclusive, providing a blueprint for the standards that should be expected from all participants in professional women's basketball.